Geopolitical analysis. France and the U.S. in Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. France's waning influence in Africa. France, the U.S., and the Eastern Mediterranean energy conflict. The geopolitical dynamics involving France, the U.S., Turkey, and Israel are becoming increasingly complex, driven by competition for control over valuable resources in Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. As France struggles to maintain its influence in Africa, the U.S. and Israel are maneuvering to control significant oil and gas reserves in the Eastern Mediterranean. At the same time, efforts to marginalize Turkey within NATO parallel attempts to push Hungary out of the European Union, highlighting the broader strategies of powerful global actors. Underpinning these maneuvers is the ideology of Theodor Herzl's Greater Israel, which some Zionists are strategically implementing through ongoing conflicts in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria. France's waning influence in Africa. France faces significant challenges in maintaining its influence in Africa, a region crucial to its economic stability. With a history of colonial ties, France has long depended on African resources, particularly from Algeria, which boasts substantial gas and raw material reserves. However, France's grip on the continent is loosening as anti-French sentiment grows and former colonies assert their independence. Internally, France is teetering on the edge of civil unrest. The nation perceives its Muslim population, primarily from North Africa, as a significant threat, exacerbating domestic tensions. In Morocco, King Mohammed VI is viewed as a corrupt puppet under French influence, continuing a legacy of dependency established by his predecessors. Conversely, Algeria has emerged as a strong, independent nation, supported by a robust alliance with Turkey, including a military agreement that further fortifies its position. The role of Turkey and Algeria. Turkey's strategic alliance with Algeria enhances the latter's ability to resist Western pressures. This partnership, alongside Turkey's protection of Libya, poses a considerable threat to both U.S. and French interests in North Africa. Turkey's military backing of these nations disrupts Western plans and asserts a new balance of power in the region. Oil and gas in the Eastern Mediterranean. The struggle for control over oil and gas resources extends to the Eastern Mediterranean, where significant reserves have been discovered. The U.S. and Israel are keen to exploit these resources, potentially sidelining Turkey in the process. The war in Gaza, often perceived through the lens of territorial and ideological conflict, also has underlying motives tied to energy resources. Control over these reserves is crucial for the economic and geopolitical strategies of the U.S. and Israel. The Cyprus conflict and broader implications. A future conflict in Cyprus appears increasingly likely, involving a coalition of Israel, the UK, France, Greece, and the US against Turkey. This conflict is not merely about regional dominance, but also about securing control over valuable energy reserves. Israel's strategy includes provoking Turkey into a military response, surrounding it from multiple directions to weaken its position. Strategic mastery of Turkish leadership. Turkish leaders Recep Tayyip Erdogan and Hakan Fidan are recognized as strategic masterminds, navigating complex geopolitical landscapes with astuteness. They are acutely aware of the broader machinations involving influential global players such as the Rockefellers and the Rothschilds. Their strategic decisions are informed by an understanding of these underlying power dynamics, enabling Turkey to assert its influence effectively in both Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. U.S. and Israel's strategy to push Turkey out of NATO. The U.S. and Israel's efforts to control energy reserves in the Eastern Mediterranean are accompanied by a broader strategy to marginalize Turkey within NATO. By provoking Turkey and attempting to isolate it geopolitically, these nations aim to weaken Turkey's influence within the alliance. This strategy parallels efforts within the European Union, where France, influenced by powerful financial interests, is working to push Hungary out of the EU. France and the EU. The case of Hungary. Hungary, under Prime Minister Viktor Orbán, has taken a stance that often contradicts the directives of the European Union, particularly on issues of sovereignty and national interest. Ursula von der Leyen, viewed by some as a pawn of financial elites like the Rothschilds, has been instrumental in efforts to marginalize Hungary within the EU. Orbán's refusal to follow the orders and games of these powerful actors has made Hungary a target for political and economic isolation. Theodor Herzl's Greater Israel ideology. At the core of Israel's strategic ambitions is the ideology of Theodor Herzl's Greater Israel, which envisions expanding Israel's territory to encompass parts of neighboring countries, including the southern part of Turkey. This expansionist vision is being implemented through ongoing conflicts in Gaza, Lebanon, and Syria. The wars in these regions are not just about immediate security concerns, but also about long-term territorial and resource control. The Zionist strategy, following Herzl's vision, aims to reshape the geopolitical landscape in favor of Israel, ensuring its dominance over the region's valuable resources and strategic locations. Conclusion: the geopolitical landscape involving France, the U.S., Turkey, and Israel is complex and dynamic, driven by competition for control over valuable resources in Africa and the Eastern Mediterranean. France's diminishing influence, coupled with internal strife, contrasts sharply with Turkey's rising power and strategic alliances. The U.S. and Israel's ambitions to control energy reserves further complicate the situation, setting the stage for potential conflicts that could reshape the regional order. The parallel strategies to marginalize Turkey within NATO and Hungary within the EU highlight the broader machinations of powerful global actors, revealing a concerted effort to maintain control over critical geopolitical and economic domains. Central to these maneuvers is the implementation of Herzl's Greater Israel ideology, which continues to drive the conflicts and geopolitical strategies in the region.